Hey guys, what's up? Okay, so this is something that I've been wanting to talk about for a very long time, and now it's finally time for me to talk about it. Um, so I want to talk about, you know, disobedience and just how, that affects not only that person who's being disobedient, but also how it affects everyone around them, including the kingdom. Um, I just want to be really sensitive to the spirit right now and speak what I'm supposed to speak and how I'm supposed to speak it, because it is very touchy, and I want to make sure that I'm saying what I'm supposed to say, but also like I'm not being like blah, So basically, I can't remember when actually, but the Lord had revealed to me a few people who have slighted me that I didn't really know about. And, in that moment, I had to make a choice if I'm going to be, um, if I'm going to be, hateful and bitter towards that, or if I'm going to forgive them and bless them in that, and just pray that, the Lord continues to work on their heart and continues to bless them, and also continues to bring them to a place where they die to themselves, where they understand that everything that we do affects everyone around us. And our simple obedience not only helps ourselves in our relationship with the Lord, but it helps everyone else around us, and it actually helps to advance the kingdom, and it helps other people to be lifted up, to do the same, to pay it forward. And these people did not want to do that for me. And, at first I was just, that's how I was. But then I really started dealing, because it really started affecting me, because these certain things that I was supposed to be helped with were actually supposed to help me advance to the next level the Lord wanted me to be in. And it was ultimately going to help other people who I am supposed to have influence over. And it also makes me realize that I'm not the only one this has happened to. And it also makes me realize that I have done this as well, that I have slighted people, that I have done people wrong, simply because I did not want to step out. I did not want to give up myself. And we cannot, as Christ followers, cannot be people who are not willing to lay ourselves down. The simple definition of being a Christian is being little Christ, following the example of Jesus. And if he literally came down to our level, became as a man, and died, laid himself out so we could be lifted up. And that is the example that we are to live our lives unto. We are to be people who, it's so alive right now. We are to be people who are laying ourselves down to lift others up. We are to die to ourselves, just as he died to himself. He may have been crucified, but he died to himself. He gave up the ghost. He gave up himself and died. So that's something to think about. And it just really upsets me that there, especially in the church circles that I'm in, where we are so about like hearing the voice of God and really dying to ourselves and living a radical lifestyle. But when it comes down to it, we don't want to do that, because a real radical lifestyle comes with dying to yourself, comes with everything. Like, people want to be superhero missionaries and go to third world nations all the time, but that's not the reality. The reality is, you're probably going to have a regular 9-to-5 job, possibly even a cubicle, and a place that you need to die to yourself is realizing that that cubicle is a mission field. Realizing that the person next to you is the person that you need to minister to, and stop living in this fantasy that you need to be in a third world country. There are too many people who are going overseas and going to these third world nations who have no business being over there. None. No business being in the mission field, because they're not called there. Okay? And then too many people who want to be superhero missionaries, but they don't want to be that where they live, but they want to go overseas and do that. That's selfish, and that's disgusting, and that's spitting in the face of the Lord, and it needs to stop. There are a lot of things that need to stop. I'm getting fired up now. So, I don't know, it just irks me that we do not realize the ramifications of what we do or what we don't do. We don't realize that everything that we do and say has an impact, especially because we are supposed to be ambassadors of God. We're supposed to be ambassadors of the kingdom. Everywhere we go, we are ushering in who He is, because we're supposed to allow His word to become flesh. Are we not? So why are we not living like that? It's because we don't want to. And it's also because of the people who the Lord has called us to bless, the people who He's called us to reach out to, people who He's called us to love and to be Christ to. We don't want to be Christ to, because of the fact that these people who He wants us to be Christ to are unappealing. They're unappealing to us. He said to His disciples, I was hungry, you did not feed me. I was naked, you did not clothe me. I was in jail, you did not visit me. And they asked Him, when were you in this situation? Paraphrasing, obviously. And then He said, what you've done unto the least of these, you've done unto me. So when you are disobedient, when the Lord actually tells you, I want you to bless this person, regardless of whatever it is, and you don't do it, and I'm guilty of it too, you're doing that unto Him. He does not care about your ministry. He does not care about your call, your anointing. He does not care about your amazing YouTube channel, about your Instagram followers, about your amazing godly tweets. He cares about how you treat people. He cares about how you love your neighbor. He said love your neighbor as yourself, not just love your neighbor. No, that means love your neighbor as yourself. That means to die to yourself. That means if your neighbor is hungry, you feed them. If your neighbor is naked, you clothe them. If your neighbor does not have shelter, you put a roof over their head. If their neighbor does not have money, then you put money in their pocket. If their neighbor needs something to make money, then you help them get to that position. Whatever it is, we are supposed to stand in that gap, because in this world, we have jurisdiction over, we have dominion over, and He's given that unto us. And we forget that everything that's going on in this world is our fault. What's ever bad is our fault because we allowed it. Because he gave us this world. He created this world for us. He said, take dominion. He said, subdue the earth. He has given us dominion over this world and everything in it. That means it's ours. He did everything he was supposed to do. Stop sitting there praying for something to happen when you are the answer to that prayer. He already answered it on the cross. He already answered it. You are the answer. So if you actually listen to what he's saying and yield to him like you're supposed to, you would know that, but you don't. And then it's just going back to, the fact that we don't want to, because I really just want to be sensitive to the Spirit, but also I want to make sure I'm saying what I'm supposed to say. So a lot of times we really, when it comes down to wanting to bless people, we really think about how is this person going to help me in return? And we think about the physical attributes of this person. And we think about what we believe this person has to offer. Whether they actually have something. Regardless, that person died. That person died to themselves, one. I don't know if they did, but Jesus died for that person. That's what I meant to say. Jesus died for that person. Just like he died for you. Second of all, he looks at the heart of the person. He doesn't look at their physical appearance. We look at the physical appearance, and we need to stop looking at that physical appearance. And I'm really going to go deep into this because the fact of the matter is that part of the reason why I did not see these things was because of my physical appearance. It's because I am black. And it's because I am I'm short stature, whatever. Short stack, whatever. And it's because especially when it comes to influential people, there is a pride in them where they want, and it's something that we can all, especially when it's something that we've really tapped into and we really understand, we hone that thing and we really have built success in that area, and we see someone else who could potentially take our spot because, again, we have to be competitive in the church. Why? We want to keep them inferior. We want to keep them inferior, and we also want to stay superior. And so, because of that, we don't want to bless them. And that's what has happened, on top of the racial thing, because again, we are in a society, we're in a culture, especially in the church circles that I'm in, we're in a culture where white is right and black is ill. And it's spiritual. I've talked about this before. I'm going to be talking about more in depth, but racism is demonic in nature, and it's a demonic mindset. It's more than just a mindset, something that's taught. It's demonic in nature because we are in a spiritual battle. And we have to understand that racism and colorism is also a part of that spiritual battle that we have to come out of agreement with. And unfortunately, that is something that we face in the church. And thankfully, I haven't faced anything blatant, at least not to my knowledge. Oh, you're cool now. But there are people who I know who have faced this blatant racism in the church. And I'm just like, those people better be glad I was not there. Because I would have, I would have gotten kicked out. They would have called security. They would have called cops. No. Be glad I was not there. Be glad that was not me, because it would have been a completely different. This is why it wasn't me. This is why it wasn't me. But we can't be that because that is not of the kingdom. And we have to understand that, yes, it's very subtle. It's not subtle, but it's so ingrained that it's almost second nature. Because it's literally everywhere. It's in the corporate world. It's in the media, especially in the media, where everyone who's in the forefront is Caucasian, is white, or they're of a lighter complexion. And if they are black, then they're of a lighter complexion. They have more of a Eurocentric phenotype. And we've been conditioned, thanks to things like Birth of a Nation, that black people are a certain way. But it's all demonic. And it's things that we need to cleave ourselves from. It's things that we need to prune ourselves from. And we need to not only realize that that is demonic and come out of agreement with that, but we need to walk that out. And we need to become the church that we're supposed to become. We need to become the body that is talked about in Acts, the first century church, where they lived with each other. They ate with each other. They slept with each other. They slept with each other. Understand what I'm saying? They did life together. They were family. And now, because of the Romans coming in and marrying Christianity with paganism, now the basic model of the church is based on a demonic religious belief. It's not based on who Jesus is. It's not based on what Jesus died for. He did not die for an occultic, new age doctrine, religious, legalistic thing. He died for a family. And we need to become a family. And we need to understand what that means. And we need to be a people who are going to lay ourselves down for each other. Because in the end, if we want to advance the kingdom, we have to be a people who are going to lift each other up. So that's all I need to say. And I hope that I had enough light. And yeah, stay rooted and God bless.